You might be thinking that weight loss is not even possible if you can't work out, but that's not true. In fact, I'm going to be going over the ways that you can still achieve your weight loss goal without exercise in today's video. Alright guys, if you're new to my channel, my name's Autumn and I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with a master's in nutrition and human performance. On my channel, I'm typically talking about the science-backed information that can make you feel amazing again, and part of that is also making sure that you can achieve your weight loss goal even if you can't exercise right now. Now, I always get this question whenever it comes to around the fall or winter time, especially for my East Coast AM peeps, when there's just like some crazy snowstorm happening, which I'm so unfamiliar with down here in LA. Or maybe you broke your leg or injured your arm, or there's just some reason that you can't exercise. And whenever that happens, I always get a lot of questions asking, can I still even achieve my weight loss goal if I can't exercise? Yes. In fact, you guys might have even heard that old saying, weight loss is 80% nutrition, 20% working out, or 90% nutrition, 10% working out. There's really no way to measure that. But that rough estimation is actually really true. Now, exercise, especially walking, is really amazing for tapping into fat burning mechanisms, helping to build strong muscles, and just overall toning your body and achieving the fitness goals that you're looking for. But it's not the end all when it comes to weight loss or fat loss. In fact, nutrition is the key component for this. And this is evidenced time and time again, especially with AM peeps when they do go to reduce their exercise amount, but switch over to more of the nutrition strategies that I'll be talking about today, and they actually achieve their weight loss goals and wellness goals faster. In fact, Sierra is a really classic example of this, and I'll link her story down below so you guys can check it out. But the main focus when you can't work out but you still are looking for that wellness goal or weight loss goal is to make sure that we can boost fat burning mechanisms while also making sure that we can increase satiety or keep satiety high. So that brings me to rule number one, is really making sure that you aren't starving yourself. So calorie restriction in general can cause short-term weight loss. I mean, there's plenty of information around that. I can't argue that, but it's not necessarily sustainable. In fact, there's one study that pointed out that a year after someone stopped their diet of calorie restriction, they still had elevated hunger hormones. A year later, those elevated hunger hormones are going to make it impossible to be able to achieve your wellness goals because you're constantly going to have these cravings. I'm sure plenty of you guys have experienced this before when you tell yourself, no, I can't have that, and then all you can think about is that, whatever it may be. Now, the reason why your hunger hormones go up and why weight loss is actually more difficult when you are restricting your calories is because your body starts to decrease or slow your basal metabolic rate or your BMR. Now, I think that people don't really understand what this means in your body when your BMR decreases. It's not just that your metabolism is slowed, but what's actually happening within your body is there's a decrease in energy going out to different sections or different processes within your body. So this is why often people who are on long-term calorie restriction diets can sometimes have issues with fertility or even period loss, because it's kind of like the same thing that happens when you're under a state of stress where your body shuts off blood flow from non-essential organs. So that being organs such as your fertility organs or your GI tract. That's also why people might start to feel lethargic or tired or cranky and hangry during this time when you are on a calorie restriction diet. So your body's essentially just trying to save yourself. It's keeping the energy for the most essential systems within your body, meaning your brain, your heart, your lungs, the things that you need to survive right now. And that's why your hunger hormones start to go up, because it's trying to compensate. It's trying to tell you eat more food so that we can actually get these systems running. So then the conundrum comes in. How do you lose weight if when you go to decrease your calories, you get hungry and your body's working against you? Well, the answer really comes down to this. Don't fight your physiology, work with it instead. You want to tell your body that there's enough food in this environment and that you don't need to slow down your BMR. And the best way to do this is to make sure that you eat until satiated. So not eat until you feel slightly hungry still, but eat until you actually feel satisfied. And this is a pretty foreign concept for a lot of us because for so long we've been told to eat smaller portions, eat smaller amounts of food, especially when it comes to weight loss. But for long-term results, especially if you can't work out right now, you do need to make sure that satiety is one of the pillars of what you're doing. Now, in order to do this, you do need to make sure you're focusing on satiating foods. So these are foods that contain the protein, fat, and fiber that will turn off those hunger hormones, cause that stretch mechanism within the stomach that tells your brain there's plenty of food in this environment. We don't need to slow down the BMR. This also allows for those breaks between meals, so you aren't snacking between meals. And as you decrease snacking, this is also going to help to decrease your insulin. And insulin is that storing hormone. So as much as we can keep it so you're not having spikes of insulin throughout the day, and that's going to help your body tap into fat burning mechanisms. You can't have fat burning at the same time as raised insulin. Those are two counter effects. So Insulin is storing. Fat burning, of course, is breaking down. So you can't have both going on at the same time. So a really great place to start for this is definitely check out my fat burning smoothie recipe. I think it's right here. You can use that, and that's a really great smoothie to start off your day. And since we're on the topic of full satiating meals over snacks in order to help with your insulin and blood glucose levels so that you can tap into fat burning, my next tip is really to make sure you're staying away from those easy convenience food items like protein bars, chips, and crackers, especially popcorn as well, even if they are low calorie. Because remember, low calorie isn't necessarily something that we want. We want you to feel satiated. But these foods aren't meal foods. These aren't going to make you feel satiated. Or if they do, it's not going to make you feel satiated for very long because it doesn't contain the protein, fat, and fiber sources. Especially when you look at things like chips and crackers and popcorn, it's pure carbohydrates with very little amount of fiber. So not only does it not contain the protein, fat, or very much fiber, it's just pure carbohydrates that are going to spike your blood glucose level and make it so that you crave more of those foods. Now with protein or energy bars specifically, I've talked so much about this. I'm going to link the video down below as well as right here so that you guys can check it out because this is a very important topic that I think is holding a lot of people back. All right, my last tip is to definitely look into intermittent fasting. Of course, I talk about this so much on my channel as being something that's beneficial for tapping into fat burning mechanisms, but especially if you can't work out at all during this time, this will just help to kickstart the fat burning mechanisms, even if you can't include exercise. If you're unfamiliar with intermittent fasting, or if you haven't used it before, make sure that you check out my whole playlist on this, or you can also check out the complete intermittent fasting bundle, which I'll have linked down below. Guys, I also have an announcement. You've been asking me when the fall intermittent fasting challenge will be held. It is going to start September 23rd. We had a really amazing time during the summer intermittent fasting challenge. A lot of AM peeps felt energized, tapped into fat burning mechanisms, got great sleep, and just feel good again. So if you want to join in on the fall intermittent fasting challenge, I have all the details down in the description below. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe right here. I come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday to help you feel amazing again. So make sure you turn on the notification bell as well. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.